I'm Theresa Kewell. Everybody calls me Tree. And originally I was a horse rider through most of my life, and a professional show jumper. And then I decided to retire from the ring at the age of 35 and took up sailing and fell completely in love with boats and the water. And at 38, I ran away to sea and gave up my career in fundraising and ran away to sea to crew on a yacht here in the Mediterranean, where I happened to meet my husband. And so we then got together and sailed here for 20 years, cruising through all of the Mediterranean, and eventually decided we should have a roof over our head somewhere. And we looked throughout all of the Spanish islands and France and so on, sailed through Greece and all of the Greek islands and Turkey as well, and decided that the Ionian was just the most beautiful place and that this was where we would put a roof over our head. And it was just the ideal cruising ground for us in our later years and a perfect place to keep the boat. Mainly really the cruising ground and the sheltered cruising ground. Lefkada was perfect because it's actually attached to the mainland by a bridge, so you don't have to get a ferry or an aeroplane to get to the island. It's lovely sheltered sailing, and the whole culture of Greece and the whole ethos of the people was so attractive to us. People are so hospitable here, they're so friendly, and the lifestyle is very, very laid back. Sigar, sigar is the Greek phrase. Nothing like as urgent as manana. Not originally. I came to Greece when I was only 20. I was backpacking around Europe and we ended up in Greece, and I loved Greece then. And then when I started sailing and I got my skipper's certificate, I came out to do some delivery work here for one of the big charter companies, and I fell in love with it completely then. So I was into my 30s, and that was really the draw to come back and persuade my husband, not that he needed much persuading, that Greece was really where we needed to settle because it's just such a beautiful country and has so much to offer. All its ancient history, all the Greek myths, everything about Greece is just magic. It was a total change of lifestyle from the UK, where, you really are on a treadmill of work, and more work, and very little time to play, because you're too exhausted most of the time. And but the whole lifestyle here is one of social culture, enjoyment, easygoing factors, and again, everybody's attitude is just very laid back as opposed to being on the typical European treadmill. I think a great deal of it is to do with the whole community feeling of the Greek people. They still have this tremendous family values, and everything is about the family and looking after each other. And that's what's the most important factor in their life. Yes, of course, they have to work and earn a living, but it's more about making sure everybody is happy. They're very keen for everybody to be well and happy. And that, I think, is why the lifestyle is so different, because they want to just keep things calm and enjoyable, as opposed to just achieving and ambition. Yes, of course, there are very clever and ambitious people within the Greek culture, but most of it revolves around the family and the community. We've been in Lefkada we arrived in Lefkada with the boat in 1999. but then sailed on through to Turkey for 2 years or so, but realised this was where we wanted to settle. So we came back in 2003 and bought our first piece of land here and built the first house. That was one of our concerns. Would we be accepted as foreigners living in a very authentic Greek village where virtually nobody speaks English? But they were just fantastic. They just were so pleased. They felt that it was bringing new life into the village to have us here and have our family come and visit, and children, grandchildren, and they just loved it. They totally accepted us and have made us so welcome, and they cannot help us enough here in the village. It's just wonderful. The Greek language. I started off doing quite well, and I had a friend who was teaching me Greek, and she was really good and very helpful, and I was really progressing quite well because, again, as I said just now, the villagers really don't speak very much English at all. If you go further around in Greece, you will generally find somebody who speaks English, or a lot of the young people speak English and they want to practice their English with you. But here in the village, I really need to have some Greek. But unfortunately, my friend who was teaching me moved back to the UK. And since then, my Greek has kind of plummeted. And I don't use it enough. I try very hard, but people tend to come back to me in English when they realise that my Greek, when they realise their English is far better than my Greek. So, but I do keep trying, and I keep telling myself I'm going to try harder. Oh yeah, I'm very good at mime. I had to go into a store one time and I was trying to buy some mince to make spaghetti bolognese, and I ended up with the butcher going, moo, moo. He finally realised what it was I was after. Our expectations were to live in a beautiful place, have some wonderful sailing, become part of the community. We didn't want to just be part of an expat community. We wanted to be part of a Greek community and become part of the Greek society, and live in a beautiful climate and a spectacular place. And all of those expectations have been fulfilled and totally exceeded. We just couldn't be anywhere better. It was very fast, actually. I think because we had travelled so much and been through so many different countries and met so many different people, and just we were very flexible and adaptable, that, the minute we set foot really here on a permanent basis, it was just very easy and quick to adapt to being part of the Greek culture. And because we were so accepted within that Greek culture and embraced within that Greek culture, it was very easy to just make this home almost instantaneously. And now I just feel far more Greek than I do British. Living away from your home country means obviously that you're away from family and friends. Unfortunately, because we live somewhere so beautiful, over all these years, our family and friends are keener to come and visit us than expect us to go and visit them, although, of course, I do. But I haven't been back to the UK for some time now because of COVID and various things going on that have created difficulties with travelling, and other people haven't been able to come here to see me. But the only other thing that I really miss in terms of previous lifestyle in Britain is, to be honest, live performance and concerts, theatre. Yes, of course, that exists here in Greece, but again, it is all in Greek, so it's not quite like going to see a play, although I did drama and theatre arts at college, so I'm quite au fait with the Greek tragedies, and it's wonderful to go to somewhere like Epidavros and actually see a live performance. But, you know, and we did have a really good music culture on the island here at one stage, and we used to have a lot of music going on. Even here in the house, we'd have jam sessions and things. So that made up for that. But that's the one thing probably that I miss most about life here rather than in the UK. Most of the British expat community arrived here, as I did, on a sailing boat. And so we all had in common sailing, and that's how most of us first met. There is not just British expats here, there's some American, there's quite a lot of Dutch and German. So, you know, it's not just about being part of a British expat community, but an international expat community, which is nice because, again, that converges different cultures as well. Well, it's pretty hectic, actually. Everybody thinks you're on a permanent holiday when you live in a sunny climate, but with having the boat and the house and all sorts going on, and life is quite fast paced. There's always something to do, and I used to be I'm a member of the local drama group and the choir and a cards group. So you're not only just living day to day doing the typical shopping, cleaning, swimming, whatevering, you're also involved in all sorts of other activities. So it's really very busy and there's all sorts to do. Oh yes. Without question, it would be Greece. My heart and soul are in Greece. What I'm doing right now is I'm in the process of buying another boat so that I can get back on the water. I'm in the process of selling this beautiful house, mainly because I have two houses, and my husband died nearly 5 years ago now, and I really don't need two houses. Plus, because of that situation, I want to, A, get back out sailing again, and B, do some other world travelling, have a chance to go and see some places I haven't seen yet, visit friends, for example, in New Zealand, that I've never been to New Zealand, and I have a number of friends in New Zealand. And so I'd like to go and spend some time there. I've got friends in America who would love me to go and visit them again. And so, you know, most of my future plan is about travelling and enjoying the world and seeing more of the world and continuing to enjoy sailing here in the Ionian, and maybe go back across the Aegean again, and maybe up to Croatia, who knows. But certainly to carry on life on the water and travelling more. Well, when we first saw this plot, when we had decided that we wanted a roof over our head here in Lefkada, we discovered this plot of land, and it was on 3 different levels. And so we immediately had a vision of how we would build a magical house using all the different levels and making it interesting. And because it's set against the mountainside, we wanted to construct it in something that would fit in with the mountainside and fit in with the village, rather than building a big, stark, yellow with blue shuttered villa that stands out against the mountainside. So we wanted to build in traditional materials, hence all the stonework. We had a wonderful team of Albanian stoneworkers and who constructed the magnificent turret for us, and it's a long process. It's not an easy process building in Greece. It took us actually 3 years to build this house. I think mainly because of the stonework and the turret. There's there's the tall 3-story turret. So as you approach, there's this imposing tall piece of stonework, and so it looks a bit like a castle from the outside. So that's why, and because many people have had such a good time here, that they regard it as just a magical place, and therefore it became the Magic Castle. Oh yeah. It's going to be quite painful to part with it. The theatre, live concerts, fish and chips. Greek salad. The people and the climate. Endaxi, sigar, and yamas. Endaxi means okay, sigar means slowly, and yamas means cheers. Wine. White mainly. Dry. Vegetables. Kolokosakia taganate, which is fried courgettes. Horiatiki, which is Greek salad with a big piece of feta cheese on it. And pasticcio, which is a macaroni and mince dish in the oven. When my husband died, we were told that there was no room in the village for foreigners to be buried. But when it actually happened, the villagers came together to find a plot of land. What I would say to myself 20 years ago is, should have done it sooner. If anybody else is thinking about a different lifestyle, then my advice to them is, so often it feels like you're about to throw yourself off a precipice, to remove yourself from what you know and the culture that you know, and launch into something completely different can seem very intimidating. And as I say, it feels like you're launching yourself off a precipice, but actually when you do it, it's much easier than you think, and it is well worth it. So go ahead and do it.